Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Annuity Fundamentals with Kylie Malat and my co-host Ryan Anderson. Today is going to be a great day. We are joined by Joyce Garcia. She is going to show us how it is done. She spent 14 years in the corporate America, wanted to change her life a little bit and a lot of bit, got into the insurance world. And so we're going to hear from her today to show us how she did it. So we're excited for her to be here. So welcome, Joyce. Thank you for joining us. And I'm excited to get into it.
Thanks, Kylie. Thanks, Ryan. How are you guys doing?
We're doing wonderful. I mean, as far as what a lovely smile you have. I say that every time we visit, but I want to give our listeners a little bit of background on you. You were born in the Philippines and you
Yes.
immigrated to the United States when you were about 10 years old. You grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, and I mean, as a rule, you have to be a diehard Packers fan because I mean, there it is. All right, my son-in-law, huge Packers fan. He grew up in
Yes, I
Minnesota,
am.
and but his family are all Patriots fans except for him. But I was like, all right. So now you and as Kylie were saying, were in corporate America for about 14 years, and then you made the personal decision as I want a life. I want to spend time with family. And so you founded the Legacy Insured Group, which
Hmm.
focuses on Medicare and life insurance. And you're primarily a life agent. And you've
Yes.
been doing that for the last 7 years. And you've got a bunch of agents that work for you. So does that kind of sound, is that the good lay of the land?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for that overview. And thank you both for having me here today. I am excited to share my story and really to give hope to people who may want to do what I did without having to go through all the mistakes that I went through. But they're good learning experiences.
That's what we have
And
to say about mistakes, right? We learn from them. So here are my mistakes so you don't make the same ones. I love it.
yes. And I really got into insurance really by accident, or it just fell on my lap. Well, first of all, I quit corporate America because I only have one daughter, and she was about 9 at that time. And that was the age that I felt I needed to be there for her, and um, I was at a position where it demanded a lot of my time, even though I had my own hours. I really did it just because
Yeah.
I worked on weekends and we were on vacation. I had to carry my laptop and focusing on my daughter, raising her just to make sure that she knows, especially just before the teen years, the children need to feel that they're they're valued, they're loved, and to build that self-confidence in them was really my focus. And
100%.
so someone came up to another agent actually asked me if I wanted to upgrade my policy to have living benefits. And I was like, what is that? And at that time, it happened to be the year that my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And so I truly felt the importance of it, the value, and I wanted to share that with other people as well. I found a calling, a purpose in what I want to do. I mean, nobody wakes up to say, I want to be an insurance agent, right? We're usually the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, but we're going to change that. And I decided to go into it. I started with an IMO just because I didn't know any better at that time. And I knew the person who had asked me to work with. And that really gave me a good foundation because I learned a lot about the different products and insurance. Um, and then eventually I evolved into founding a legacy insured group because I didn't want to limit myself to like just specific products. I wanted the best of the best to offer my clients. And that's started Legacy Insured Group. And the name Legacy Insured, not insured, but to ensure people's legacies with the products that we offer. And out of that, I would meet people who would be in alignment with my vision as far as what I wanted for not only our company, but for our clients. And it just grew organically without me like really trying to, recruit new agents. I just happened to meet people who are looking for a new opportunity to be able to earn income while making a difference at the same time. And, that's kind of how that evolved. And I've got one agent or two agents who focus mainly on Medicaid. I decided to just stay with life only. And that's why it's great to work with a team because you're able to leverage each other, right?
Yeah.
And we're all obviously, finding you and Ryan was a blessing as well because I love the strategies that you teach, and it goes hand in hand with what we do as a company.
Oh, I appreciate that. And like I gotta say, Joyce, you are very much one of our standouts. And I think that has to do with your story. You come across very genuine, and so it does not shock me at all that you're successful. Because that just, I mean, just through the screen, that's who you are, that's your essence. And I think that's a beautiful beginning because a lot of people are in the same situation. I mean, you're right. 9 years old is a vital moment in your child's life of getting into the preteen years and you're not wanting to miss it. And when you say, I had to take my laptop on vacation, that means you had a job, not a career, right? And in this industry, that's what we're building is we are building the career. So if we can go on vacation, we can enjoy the time with our loved ones because that's why we booked it, right? We were
Yes,
tired of the
yes,
grind. We wanted to go away on a beach and enjoy each other's company. And then with your mom on top, I think that just shows a level of genuineness of I'm here to help people. Like I've had things in my life happen and now I have the solutions so that the heartache that I went through, you don't have to in this
yes,
aspect, right? Living benefits. Do you know how many people that we talk to who have no idea what that word or term even means? And so
right.
to have someone like yourself who's been there, been that person of like, wait, what's a living benefit? And now you're on the other side getting to share that information. I think that's beautiful. So I love that origin story. Thank you for sharing.
Oh,
Now, I
thank
want a
you.
little bit more details there here that you
Yes,
went through. And I love the story behind the story. I love this is what got me to that point of time. And I think a lot of our listeners who can probably relate to that as far as I went to my job and I just can't work for that in that company or that situation anymore. Or I've been doing what I need to do right now and I'm tired of begging for my 2 weeks of vacation at the end of the year. Or I would like to actually take my family on a vacation that doesn't involve me driving to a family member's house and mooching off their food for a week. So I would like the nitty gritty. You started an agency. How did you go through? How did you get your first clients? How did you go through? Did you use social media? How did you get the lead processes? How did you decide that that Medicare wasn't for you personally, but life insurance was? The I'm a new agent. I'm inspired by your story. How do I 7 years from now have my own agency with a bunch of agents that work for me? What are the
No joke.
steps you took to get there?
okay. Well, first, you have to have the idea, right? You have to have that vision of what you want because just jumping into this blindly is kind of hard without a vision of what you want for your company. I mean, even the name meant something. My husband actually was like, he came up with the tagline of get a leg, get a leg up on your on your future or something like that. I don't remember what he was saying, but legacy insured group. Some people said, oh, that's too long, you know. I'm like, but that's what it means for me,
Mm,
creating that legacy, ensuring people's legacies continue, like beyond the insurance part of it that I've been able to help them. So that started. I had to get the name, obviously, for a website. Creating a website, that's important. Fortunately, my husband is a techie and he was able to create that for me. And then secondly was I had been in touch, one of my team members who I worked with from a previous IMO decided she wanted to jump on board with me. I was like, hey, I can focus on the life, you do the Medicare, let's work together. And it was just the two of us. Well, there was one other friend, but she decided she didn't want to go into insurance anymore. We're
Okay.
like, fine. And then I did a lot of networking. So
Okay.
that is important because, as you know, insurance is, there's so many people out there
Mm.
and they buy
Just a
you for
few.
who you
Just
are.
a few.
Just a few. Yeah. Like a few, 100,000s of agents. And I had to go out there and let people know here in Austin. I was a part of, at one point I was a part of BNI. I was a part of NIA and Network in Action, all the mom groups I would join and some other women's groups I would join because I wanted people to know who I am. There's a difference when you meet people face to face, like you said. And I'm grateful. Thank you. I'm encouraged by your kind words. But I want people to know who I am, what I stand for, and that I'm not just trying to make a sale out of them. I sincerely wanted to build those relationships. So started with that, getting referrals. Then, of course, it started with just getting referrals. I did at one point subscribe to, I forget what it was called, but they would send out newsletters for me. Yes, that didn't really work. After that, I was like, you know what? It's better to just get organic referrals. And that's
Wow.
how it's been ever since, because I am involved in my community. If there are any events, I used to, like, people would come to me, ask me for sponsorships. I mean, not like major, but
Yeah.
I would still be there just to show people that, hey, you know what? I will support you because I care about you. And without asking for anything in return, eventually it just became a reciprocal relationship to where they would promote me, or if people were asking. And then I got involved online. I would join the insurance groups. Now, not every insurance group is
Equal.
Created
equal.
equal.
Thank you.
There's a difference there.
Oh,
Yes.
big difference. And I made sure that I would volunteer for trainings so people could see that, oh, she is an expert in her field. She knows what she's talking about. That's important. And I built friendships out of those groups. And now we're again trying to build another group with women of insurance, or women in insurance. So having that support group, because I noticed the common need with insurance agents, especially who are new, is the lack of mentorship, having
Support.
someone, yes, to train them. And so that is what we're trying to provide, having that support and training and mentorship, and similar to what you and Ryan are doing, which really attracted me to that. So that's important. Plugging into the right group is important, because not only do you learn from other insurance agents, but be wary of everybody who's trying to recruit, because especially as a new agent, you're going to be contacted. People are going to try to
Yeah.
recruit you. I say do your due diligence to know what their platforms are, what they stand for, what their values are. mission, everything.
I love that. I hope our listeners are really paying attention because Joyce just gave us something that we have not heard yet. She didn't buy leads. She didn't door knock. She didn't cold call. She got out there and she networked. She put her name and her face out there. She joined groups. She got out of her comfort zone. I'm sure she got out of her box, had conversations with people she never could have imagined she would have had conversations with that led her to getting those organic leads. What's better than a referral? Nothing. Nothing is better than a referral. Let's be honest. When someone says, hey, I got your name from so-and-so, oh, it's like we're already friends, because if you're friends with her, that means we're friends because I'm friends with her too. And it
Right.
just opens that meeting up so beautifully. So gosh, get out there, join the Facebook groups. Join whatever you can, because you're right. In insurance, especially when you're an independent agent, you're feeling lonely. You're like, oh my gosh, people can be wildly successful, and then
Yes.
other people are like drowning. And you're like, well, I definitely don't want to be drowning. How do I get there? That was the biggest thing for me. Okay. Do I have the drive? Yes. Do I have the means? Yes. Now, how? How do I
Mhm.
do it? And that
Right.
was the biggest hurdle that I had to get over. If I would have met you 4 years ago, I think my life would have been so much more simple, because I just needed to get out there. I mean, we have our center of influences, right? Like our COI.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize how amazing that would be until you just kind of painted that picture. I hope people are listening. I love that.
You
I
know,
hope so.
again, I'm going to bring a couple of things in from previous conversations here, and I hope I don't overstep. That you are the president of the Filipino Chamber of Commerce in Austin, so
I am.
you've got
The
a
VP, the VP.
VP. Okay, VP. All right, sorry, but you are in the leadership of that organization, so you've got a cultural heritage that you are playing to. Now, I'm going to ask a question that I am not qualified to answer, and that is women in insurance. You guys are kind of a rare item out there. That if you go to any convention, you've got a bunch of guys that look like me, old, fat, gray hair, and about that probably not the life of the party. But I
Oh,
mean,
we know, Ryan. We've been there. We're the ones who are sitting around looking at me like, is anyone else alive? Or is it just these old guys? What's going on?
so
Where's the
Right?
girls with the long hair?
So I want, but the two of you, let's talk about that for a second. Kylie, share your experience about your first convention trip when people are asking you stuff, and Joyce, I mean, you started. No, I want. What's the name of the Facebook group again? I'm sorry, I want to make sure I get it right
Hold on. Me too. I just want to
because I
the
know there's a couple of them.
women insurance producers unfiltered.
I love
Women
that. We'll
insurance
also put
producers
that in a
unfiltered.
link in the bio. We'll put that in a link in the
Yes,
bio below
yes.
so people can get to it.
So you and some of your colleagues created that group, and as far as because there's a need out there. But talk about that as far as some of the challenges that women in insurance or women trying to get into the insurance industry have got. That's a real thing. And we had a guest a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about, I wish there were more women in insurance. And one of the reasons are women listen, guys don't. We're always trying to think of the next thing to say. And women are sitting back there, it's like, yeah, I know what you're saying. Tell me more. Tell me more. And I'm like, what? That's a thing? I mean, it was a shocking thing for me. But go ahead and kind of take it from there, ladies, if you would.
I didn't know about the ratio of men to women in insurance when I got into this. That wasn't something I researched. This was just something like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this. But seeing that, I saw after meeting these women who we ended up working together now, because we saw the need, but more importantly, we're there to help each other and to really build each other up. I know, not to say that there are not men who do that, but like you said, it's a very male dominated industry, and collectively, when we rise up, I feel that we do have a more impactful group, having women who are moms, who still have to cook for the men who, you know, the husbands who, and, you know, you come home from work, got to take care of the kids, you still have to make dinner, you still have to do the laundry, you know, bathe the babies. And I feel that that's a gift that women have because we know how to multitask.
Mhm.
And it's just, there's something, we're more, not to say that men are not, but we are truly more nurturing.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
And that extends into how we take care of our clients. You know, just being, like you said, being a listener, asking the right questions, because we do that with our kids, right? When you have a kid who comes home crying, like, okay, what happened? How'd that make you feel?
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to pull the emotions out of them just to understand, to fully understand. And we do that with our clients as well.
I agree. And I'm on the same page, Joyce. I didn't really understand the ratio of men and women until I got into it and was like, holy smokes, where are the women? Like, I'm surrounded by all these dudes. Like, this is crazy. But I think you hit the nail right on the head. We operate differently. And I think that comes across in our appointments, right? Where men are asking the right questions, we just are listening a little bit differently. I tell Ryan this all the time. That's why we work together so well, because
Mhm.
he picks up on things that I don't, and I pick up on things he doesn't. And I pick up on more of the emotional side. So I
Mhm.
can see, oh, that was a hot button for him just by the way he adjusted in his chair. When Ryan's like, no, he said it was fine, so it's fine. And I'm like, yeah, but there's undertones to everything. And I think when we do the fact-finding process, you're right, we are listening to different cues. We do
Mhm.
hit on the emotional side a little bit more. Not to say that men don't. This is
Right.
generalized, right? I'm not a
Exactly.
man hater by any means. We need men. I love that. But I think there just is a different skill set that's innate. And I don't
Mhm.
know, I think it's more learned on the male side where it's more just who we are as human beings. But I would say we operate differently, and that's what makes it beautiful and can create a partnership like the one Ryan and I have. Absolutely.
Yeah, which is
Well,
beautiful.
not just that, but there are different challenges that you would have as a woman in business as you go through as that a man would have. There was, and again, I don't want to make this kind of turn this into that, but as you were starting out, what were some of the real struggles you had that you had to overcome? I mean, to get your business up and running, were there anything out there, whether it be financial, whether it be contracting, advertising? You talk about this networking piece, but from my experience, networking is a long game. You join an
Mhm.
organization and it's 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years before you really see any real substance with that. So
Right.
you had to pay the bills in the meantime. What kind of stuff did you do?
Um, so when I did join, you know, I joined like an IMO first,
Hmm.
where I was making some money, not a whole lot, but thankfully, um, I was very fortunate working in a, you know, for my corporate job, that I had enough savings to be able to fund paying for the networking and some of the ads, like Facebook ads. And
Yeah.
you know, when you have to print materials, when you're going to these events, sponsoring events. But as a new agent, I know that may be a little harder, and that's why I find that if you do join an IMO that can help support you, um, then it becomes easier, and then transition from that to become independent, not unless you're buying, you know, let's say a captive agency where they provide everything for you, right?
Yeah.
That would be different. So I found it easier to transition to become an independent agency owner, coming from an IMO where I got, or a couple of IMOs where I had experience, and I was able to save up that way. But yes, I mean, obviously, jumping straight into becoming an independent agent, you need funds. You need to be able to, you
Yeah.
know,
Well,
find a place.
let's give our listeners like a real look. Like we're gonna get vulnerable here. So when you started and you started networking, how long, like honest, how long did that take? Because he's right, it is a long game.
It
Networking,
is.
building relationships, that is a long game, which I also am super impressed that that's the avenue you went with because you knew, oh, I'm going to make this work and this is how I'm going to start. So that's wow in general. But how long did it take for that to pay off? Like, okay, I joined this Facebook group or I went to this seminar or whatever it may be. I have these relationships. When did you start seeing business from those relationships start to mature?
A good year, at least a good year. And if you're just taking it really slowly and not even asking for help, I would say a bit 2 years, you know.
Yep.
Even though I wanted people to get to know me, I didn't just sit back and not do anything. I got to know people. And out of that, I would go out and, spend time with people. So I think the most effective for me was going out one-on-one, having lunch or coffee with people, because that's how we got to know each other, right? And that's how I built those friendships. I actually got an account with like a first responders group that their president didn't want to handle anymore because they're focusing more on the health insurance. And I got that account out of those one-on-one relationships from someone I was networking with. We were both a part of BNI.
That's cool.
So that would be the most fruitful, I would say, that I got out of that. The other one would be hosting workshops, because you actually have people who will watch and attend, and even though they may not sign up right away, they want, then you maintain the communication that way.
When you
And
say workshops,
oh,
is
like
that client facing or those workshops for more centers of influence?
both.
Okay.
So
Give
out
us
of
more
those
details there,
groups,
because yeah, I'd like to
so
hear more
out of
about
the
that.
groups, sometimes they'll say, hey, who wants to do a workshop where we're just to give our members? I'm always volunteering for those because it may not be directly regarding, it could be a mindset training, right? Investing in books and reading, that's also key. But teaching what I've learned from reading the books or attending other seminars, personal development seminars, start with that. Again, allowing people to get to know who you are. Then the last one, I would say the least effective would be sponsoring, events where they just put your name up on the board or they'll acknowledge you, because there's no like touch.
Yeah.
They just see your logo, they just see your name. Although that came in helpful later on, maybe after the third year, because I've already established a presence in the communities, right?
Yeah.
They already know, they see the name, oh, that's Joyce's company, and so
You did a little bit of branding. I
I
mean, that it's
did.
all in there. It's marketing, it's branding. You want
Yes.
people to recognize you. So maybe when you're first starting out, being a sponsor shouldn't be at the top of your priority, but it should be in the list of
Yes.
things that you need to do and get involved in that way. Cause you're right. Sometimes more often than not, we just see like this, right? I got to pay these bills. I got to save for this. I got to do this, right? We just see what's right in front of us. And what
Mhm.
you've shown these agents is like, hey, stop looking here and look out, right? It takes some vision to really look out. And I think a lot of that probably is due to your corporate background of constantly trying to grow and grow and grow, right? That's what corporate America is all about, is getting bigger and bigger. And so having that as like your backbone and that experience, then you can be like, no, I know how to do this. And it's all about looking ahead. Don't just
Mhm.
look at the first 3 months. Don't just look at the first 6, but I'm
Right.
looking year 3, 5, 10, because I know who I am, and I'm going to make this happen. And in order to do that, I need systems that I need to put in place and some really good goals.
Yes.
I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, you're right. Not just the leadership, but forecasting, what do we want? But yeah, you have to really have that vision and believe that it can happen for you. So a lot of mindset as well, because without the right mindset, I would have just given up,
I think most people do. I
yeah.
mean, if it's anything, what we all can have in common is sometimes we're quitters. Like
Mhm.
if it's a beautiful ski day and there's a cloud in the sky, I'm gonna be like, well, could rain, better not go, right? Instead of, okay, we're gonna go no matter what. I think it really is that mindset that you have to turn on, you have to lock in, you have to say, I'm gonna make this happen. It's not going to happen just because I want it to. It's going to happen because I'm going to put systems in place to make it successful. And that was you starting right off. I need a network. If I want this to be my long game, I need people to know my name. And then I need people to see my logo and say, oh, I know Joyce.
If I was to kind of review everything here, that as you're going through and looking at, having a website was a key thing that you did. And so there's a lot of services out there that will help you with websites. I mean, you've got, you just kind of Google website help and there's a dozen companies will come up. Most of us will hopefully, like yourself, have got a family member that can help. Some of those are better than others. So you may want to look at that service online in case, they don't quite crush what you want. Something else you said in there was finding a partner or a mentor, somebody to help you along the way. You do life, you've got somebody that you like to work with that does the Medicare side. Kylie and I are a great example for that. We complement each other really well. And she discussed some of those pieces there that we would have lost sales if either one of us were by ourselves in there. That there's been many times having that second person and also the starting a new business thing, as far as, are we getting paid this month? That question, as far as with a new agency, a new those struggles are real.
Those are daunting.
Yes, they are, especially if they don't get approved right away.
It's like, I needed that. Or
I already spent that money.
Or my favorite, I just got a huge hit or a huge sale. This is great, and I got a huge chargeback at the same time, so I made $4. We've all had it. And then the marketing through networking, that's the long game. And so if you've got somebody new out here that's something they should do, shouldn't be the only thing that they do, but to kind of go through and join some of the groups, to the online groups, the community groups, to find people, the centers of influence, and don't be just willy-nilly about it, but target it. If you know a specific organization out there that needs your services, get to know the CEO, get to know their CEO's assistant, even better. So
absolutely.
Would you say that kind of is a good synopsis of what you talked about here today, do you think?
Yes. Thank you for just wrapping all of that with a big bow. And that's exactly those are exactly the steps I took. Now, will it work for everyone? No, but at least you have a starting point of the direction, and you just never know who you're going to meet out there who could be a resource for you, like you guys. I mean, speaking of partnerships.
Oh yeah.
My annuity partners. So there you go.
Annuityfundamentals.com, this training, all those different things here. So kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Joyce. You definitely gave our listeners a different look of getting started. We've heard a lot of different opinions, and that was the first of networking to get started. So I think that was great. I think a lot of people will resonate with that and say, okay, I didn't even think of that. Let's get into that. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being on here. I'm sure we'll have you back soon. You're a gem. But yeah, like I said, my name is Kylie Malott. This is Annuity Fundamentals. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Please comment. I mean, we use those comments. We answer those questions. We want to get into the nitty gritty to help you be successful. So we'll see you next week, and thank you for joining us.